Thank you for taking the time out and being here. Looking forward to listening to the two other talks and then to the apero after we've done that by PowerPoint. So I thought of starting with this picture to trigger the question, are we hitting the hammer on the right head? Then I would say, don't build your product like this. Don't hit the hammer on the wrong head. So what I'm going to talk about today is a very specific experience that I've had in my professional life, which was long and winding like this, going from point A to point B and really winding. And if you're wondering what this picture is, it is not a picture of a snakes and ladders board game. No, it's a national tourist highway in Norway, so beyond the wall where I live. Yes, that's called Trollstigen. So the journey that I'm going to be speaking of today is like this, long and winding, and I'm picking an experience which is about 13 years old. 13 years back, that's something I went through certain experience. And the reason I talk about that is the immense amount of learnings I've had from this. It's really formed the way I think about product management. And this was a time when I was a developer in India. I had never heard about product management. So this is 2006, 2007. Never heard about product management. I didn't know what product managers are. I had never interacted with one. So I did what I did, and I'll talk about that. But eventually the learnings I've had, oh, I wish I was a product manager back then. That's what I think. So, which means I'm going to expose myself to amazing levels of embarrassment, but I'll take my chances. Right, so a bit of background about me. My name is Shubham Bhattacharya. I live in Oslo, so beyond the wall, but I work with Nagra Kudelski, which is also down the highway from there. But we also have an office in Oslo, in Norway. I work with household brands like Philips and Samsung, and I'm an engineer by background. But I moved to Europe to pursue an MBA at HEC Paris in France. Je ne parle bien français. That's all I know. Well, and then over these years of professional life, I worked with development. So for about 10 years, I spent coding in the smartphone space, writing code in C++. I've done all of that. Flirted with innovation, with technology, and then eventually found my calling in the product management trade. That's all I call it. So today I work as a director of portfolio strategy, which is kind of connected to product management. Right, so that's me in a nutshell. So back to the journey. This was a time working at Samsung when for Samsung there was only one other competitor in the market who was ahead of it in the smartphone space, and that was Nokia. It was the number one mobile phone makers, right? And yet we were hungry. We had the ambition of world domination. So Samsung had this huge machinery in the back, churning out products after products, innovations after innovations. So there was a lot of things happening in the back end because we wanted to reach that pole position. Now I was a part of a team called, well, not called really, but we were responsible for multimedia solutions in the mobile devices. Now, what does multimedia mean really? So around that time, people had started to click more pictures, listen to music, record videos on their handsets. That's when people started talking about the death of DSLRs. Hasn't yet happened, but somewhere soon maybe. So this was that time, right? And then our team had the mandate of innovating in this domain, multimedia experience. So we asked ourselves the question, what can we do to improve the multimedia experience of my end user, of the customers who buy my phone? Now, what does multimedia experience mean? So that's what we didn't do further, right? We didn't dive deeper. What was the objective? Did it mean that we had to provide them with all kind of content to make this phone interesting? Did it mean that their music had to be played quicker? Or did it mean that their pictures should be able to be shared pretty easily? What was it exactly? So we didn't have that clarified. So we never dug deeper. So we didn't know what metric to move, what was that needle that had to be moved with the innovations we were doing. Because we were a massive team, huge R&D center in Bangalore and all of that. So as a result of that, we didn't really know how to measure success. How would we measure success? What's the finish line? What will tell me if I'm doing a good job, an average job, or a pretty lousy job? I had no clue how to measure this. So we were this team. So that was my first learning. While we were the team innovating on the multimedia experience for the end users, we never really set the objective, never asked the question, what is the key success factor? And I think as product managers, that's one of the key roles we have. And you will be also speaking about something around objectives later on. So I think it ties pretty well in the fact that some companies don't have objectives at all. They're just running a certain machinery. And there again, it's the product manager's role to trigger the discussion and start something about it. And in some places, yes, objectives exist. It doesn't really work well. Again, I think it's the product manager's responsibility to step in and say, guys, this is not complete enough. Something needs to be done. Right? So the first learning. Now, well, we didn't know what we were doing. We were still innovating. And I see my line didn't come off. So clarifying the objective, setting out success criteria is the first thing. Now, we continued innovating, not really sure where we were going. And then this was a time when I had blonde hair and I had a eureka moment like Archimedes. Well, not blonde hair, but I had a eureka moment. So I thought of an experience. So what about the time when I'm watching a movie on a DVD player at home? Watching a video, right? Living room, on the sofa. Can I transfer that experience to a handset? Some interesting ideas came up. And then that converted to patents. Super proud. Patents, intellectual property, amazing. My name will be on that patent document. And then that started a prototyping effort. Super excited, doing stuff. So what did I do next? Hacked a solution together. Right? Quickly made something, a crude demo, and showed it to the manager. Saying, hey, what do you think? Cool, looks good. You know what? Needs to be polished a bit more before we show it to my manager. Okay, so he assigned a UI developer to me. So I'm working with a UI developer. I'm the guy who's developing the backend or the middleware, sort of. So together we defined the user experience. Said, okay, right press, left press, there start. We defined an interface. Said, good, this looks nice. Let's build it. So end to end, we build a solution. And then we needed user feedback. So I went to my teammates and said, hey, I put the software on the phones, on the Samsung phones, and said, hey, this is the feature. It works like this. This is what it should do. Try it. Tell me how it is. And they tried it. They said, oh, okay, looks good. Yeah, we need to improve with this thing there and that thing there. I got some good positive user feedback. Took it back, polished it, done. So there it was. Fantastic solution design. We took the user feedback. They tried it, all done. What did I do next? I pitched it to more people in the company. Now we had program managers, people who were kind of responsible for the tech solution of the mobile products. And this was a time when Nokia existed. Symbian operating system existed, right? Which means there were tons of mobile operating systems at that time. We had like 10 of them in our company. So I went to these program managers, said, you know what, look at this solution. What do you think? Nice, good one. Can you integrate it on my phone? Said, sure, you can do it. And then one after the other, it seemed I was getting positive response. So looking at the traction, I said, I will have to make this platform independent. So I refactored the code. I got 2 developers assigned to me. So I was now a people manager. So I got 2 developers assigned, refactored the whole code to make it platform agnostic. I could easily port it to any mobile platform in a relatively short time. So pitched to more and more program managers. They all showed me tons of love. They all loved it. Brilliant, I want to port. Can you make a prototype on my phone? Prototype. Okay, sure, we'll integrate it. And then we did that again. That was the problem. Everybody showed love, but nobody wanted to give a commitment. All love, but no commitment. Nobody was willing to commercialize this damn thing. Come on, commercialize it and we ship it. No, I need a prototype because my boss needs to see. Okay, right. So and this is where I think I kind of lost the plot a bit, or a lot maybe. That's where my next learning comes in. What did I forget? I really forgot to prioritize learning itself. Think back, everything I just said. The problem itself. That movie watching experience from the DVD player, which is a lean back experience. Transforming that and putting it on a handphone, on a handset. A lean forward experience. Is it necessarily the same? Not. Did I learn anything from it? No. Then, the solution itself. I bet everybody in this world is a better designer than I am. And yet I went with the design me and that other friend of mine kind of did together. So not a good idea. We should have really gone and figured out if this is the solution to use, right? Learn something from that, go and iterate. And then last, all the scaling that I did, before I scaled all of that to prototypes and not even products, right? I should have really stopped and learned from each prototype. I learned, yes. So I learned how to use function pointers, all the geeky and nerdy stuff, right? I learned people management. Then I learned stakeholder management, presentation skills, all of that, but I forgot to learn about building a product. The customers forgot to ask them if they needed it. So this was my second biggest learning, forgetting to prioritize learning. Then I still moved on, more prototypes. Came a time when I had the chance to shine at Vegas, Las Vegas, right? So Vegas, every January, Vegas holds the world's biggest consumer electronics show. It's called CES, Consumer Electronics Show. And then there was a chance where we could demonstrate our solution at the Samsung booth. Okay, cool. And there was a team in the R&D center which was working with OpenGL, so 3D graphic stuff, on mobile devices. Back then, pretty cool stuff. So there was a chance to take my video solution, have a three-dimensional visualization on a mobile screen, and put it in there. Wow, fascinating stuff. I want to do this. So, of course, I had two people with me. We worked on it, created this. I remember spending 4, 5, 6 nights till 4 in the morning every time, every consecutive day in the office, but to get it perfect. But I was just invested because I loved this thing. But you know what they say about Vegas? What happens in Vegas
stays in Vegas.
Thank you.
Up on Facebook.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas
This is
indeed.
free Facebook.
So nothing materialized out of this demo. Nothing at all. Fantastic. We loved it, did a lot of work, but nothing materialized out of it. Then we had more things to do. Now I was hungry for love from these program managers. So I wanted them to port this, commercialize this. So what does it take? Well, they need a prototype. Okay, let's make this quicker. Can I do it quicker for them? Yes. I have a hardware dependency. Can I kill that? Yes. I need to talk to some team in another R&D team in Samsung. Okay, found a team which did something, a software component, pulled it in, integrated it into my solution, and said, now I can do this integration in less than half the time than before. So, program manager X, what do you think? Want it? Again, he also loved it, right? Prototype. Said, okay, let's prototype. But then, you see what the idea was here, right? I was already way ahead in my integration progress. I done a pretty good job at that. It was quite okay. I was trying to solve a challenge which was a non-issue. At least not for now. It's a problem for later, if at all. So why get into this? Well, because I wanted more love from these program managers. What I should have really got into was getting a commitment from them. So that's my third learning for myself, is to stay on track. Don't lose focus. If I had the objectives in place, probably that would have helped in the first place. So the demo at Vegas, not required. The in-housing of that software component, absolutely not required now. And yet I spent all this effort doing this because I was listening to my own self, wanting to do stuff that I wanted to do. So after all these years, I think, well, if I was a product manager back then, I would have had at least one of these three in my toolkit, and now I did some of these drastic errors that I had. But there's still one last thing. This was a year and a half of this whole experience. And then I was frustrated, you can imagine, right? There was not one product that I could just say, this Samsung mobile phone has a solution that my team has developed. I couldn't say that because we just couldn't commercialize. So I was frustrated, disappointed, and angry at this fact, and I said, I'm going to just take my skills and go to a different team in Samsung. And Samsung is a big company working on different things. So I did find the right place for me to move on and use my opportunities, use my abilities in there. But I moved on, and I could have done that a bit more gracefully. And what do I mean by that? Well, I didn't burn any bridges. My managers still love me, right? He still love me. And the program managers, of course. So what I didn't do is, I didn't ask the deeper question, why did we fail? Why did everybody show so much of love, but nobody gave the damn commitment? Why was that happening? So we didn't go back deeper and ask, we didn't do a retrospective, so to say. Imagine if I would have talked to those program managers and said, okay, you loved it, you did the prototype, could you not have shown this other device and convinced your bosses and moved on with the commercialization? What was the problem there? What if I would have asked the designers? This is the fancy design I made, and me and the UI developer made. What do you think? Does it solve the problem we told you it's supposed to solve? He would have said no. And of course, I think the most important, we should have stepped out of the house and asked at least 5 real-world users. Was this a problem worth solving? If you would have asked him it's a problem worth solving, you would have got some feedback. And this would have shown me exactly what was broken in my whole process. So, to summarize all of this, when building a questions, it's really important that you keep asking questions. And when building a product, you keep asking questions. So, clarify the objectives first. What is the metric to remove? What am I trying to really achieve here? And how do you define success? Why am I doing this thing? Second is, don't forget to learn. Prioritize learning here. See if that opportunity is there. Is the problem worth solving? Is that solution the only solution? And from that, of course, did we learn anything from the last time? Every prototyping effort was a missed learning opportunity for me. Then keep your focus. Stay focused, right? Stay on track. The objectives help, of course, to do this bit. But every time you take up a new feature, that new cool demo you want to do, because it's big is big, right? Ask yourself, is it adding value to the product, to the customer, to the business? These questions are important. And a product manager asks all these questions. Nobody else really is responsible for this. The product guy is responsible for it. And of course, when it is time to move on, and there will be times to move on, you don't want to do something forever perhaps, you want to move on to another product, do so gracefully. And by gracefully, I mean try and achieve closure. Closure is important. You ask all the questions that you have to kind of figure out, did I do this right? Could we have done this better? What even worked well? Even that's an important retrospective to have. So what I have given you here is, from that whole journey, 3 high-level points that I thought might fit into a short presentation. So this is what I presented today. But the whole dirt is in here. So you can scan this QR code and take you to a blog post where I've really put out all that dirt and I've embarrassed myself completely. But I think it's worth the embarrassment because even I've been thinking about this, and when I start to write this, I really realize, man, if I knew this. And it has really shaped the way I approach product management myself. The time is about to. I guess you'll share the presentation, so I can also share the cameras, so that should be fine. And that's all from me. You have my contact. Again, pointed to a website. I started experimenting with QR codes a lot these days. It kind of works a bit. People engage with it. So thank you for your time and your attention. I hope you had something of value. Look forward to talking to you again. Thanks.